It is Friday, April 12th, 2019. It is 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and so you know what time it is. It's time for a little bit of coin metal. And man, what a tiring get your ass kicked at Jiu-Jitsu Friday. We did promotions today. My apologies for starting up just a little bit late. Unfortunately, we did have to take a little additional time and hand out the stripes to those who earn them and the belts who earn them too. Apparently, we had at least one brown belt. Well, I'm sorry, we had one brown belt hiding back in the shadows who had been kind of carpet bagging them purple belts for too long, and so they finally ferreted him out and made him a brown belt. I'm sure everybody in competition will be happy about that one. But yeah, so all together, I think I did okay. I did not get a stripe. I did not get a belt. It was not to be, not today. Maybe in another year or so. You never know. But I mean, it's not something that I'm feeling bad about, honestly, because I feel like I am making progress. But I do feel kind of like I'm plateaued out on a couple points on my game. I still end up kind of at a loss for what to do in some circumstances, and still have a little bit of trouble putting it away. Not quite sneaky enough yet. But as far as the rolling went, I put it on some people today, and had it put on me at least once. Although I did not submit. I didn't have anybody who actually submitted me today. But yeah, man, I did submit quite a few white belts today. Or rather, got quite a few submissions on white belts today. And that's not to disparage their skill. At least I think everybody that I rolled with got a stripe today. So, that's no knock on them. And, I tried not to make it too difficult. But I was trying to show my stuff too. So if I put somebody away in like 5 or 10 seconds, I put somebody away in 5 or 10 seconds. That's just how it happened. But it wasn't because I was like setting out to do that. It's just the opportunity presented itself, and I took it. But yeah, altogether, I think I've improved. But like I said, I still get stuck on a point or two, and it's, like this one guy I was rolling against today, he's a little bit smaller than I am, actually quite a bit smaller than I am, and I feel like I should have been able to put him away a lot easier, but one of the things that he was doing, and it made it really easy to tie him up and sweep him too, is he'd bring his knees in, and he wouldn't do anything to try and reclaim the area, like put something else in between me and him, like an arm or his other leg or something like that. And so, I would end up tying him up in these itty bitty balls and then sweeping him, just changing the angle until he was just tied up into a little ball. And one of them, I managed to do a north-south sweep on him, and I don't think that's actually the name for it, but it was really funny. He was in a dominant position on top of me in the north-south position, and I'm like trying to figure out how to negotiate this. And so what I did was I put both of my legs off to my left side and got up on my left hip. And as soon as he adjusted over that way, I swung my legs back over to the right and flipped him right over. Pulled one or two really, really slick moves, but other than that, I think I don't know. I got like 6 or 7 submissions. I submitted this one kid like at least 4 times within a minute, and again, that's not a knock on him. It's just I was feeling that much more superior. I wasn't exerting a lot of strength, but certainly enough to get the job done. And that's one thing I have been paying a little more attention to, is like, if it's untenable and there's no other reason to hold it, I let it go. And that is like the hardest thing for me to do, because, man, if I get a good grip on your lapel or on your sleeve or on your leg, I want to hold it until I get to where I want to go with it, And so if the collar choke is denied me or something like that, sometimes I have a little bit of trouble just letting it go, because my opponent can just negotiate themselves right into a position that I can take advantage of if I do that. If I hold on to it, though, there's a good chance that I'll miss something else. Like this kid, I was feeling really bad because I was just choking him, and choking him and choking him and choking him. I got him in a cross collar choke. I didn't get him in a guillotine, but I negotiated it from a guillotine to a collar choke. I got him in a collar choke from behind. I could have taken that one to a bow and arrow choke, and I think I Kimura'd him and Americana'd him. No armbar though. No armbars and no triangles today. It was all collar chokes and Kimura's, and Americanas. I'm gonna have to, oh no, and I did get one good arm triangle, and that one was hilarious because he was actually on top, and I pulled him to one side, and he swung really hard to the other side, and I had my arm up over his shoulder, and so I kind of grabbed a hold of his hips with my feet and pushed to where I got my head in the right position and just pulled it in tight, and there was no getting out of that triangle. None at all. Anyway, let's go ahead and throw down into some music. And I got some body count up front, and I'm thinking that's the way to go, because it was a manslaughter kind of day, but I don't know. I haven't played this one in a little while, and I'm definitely feeling it. The Ski Mask Way. First Dance, here on Coin Metal. And that was Nevermore with The Politics of Ecstasy. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I had to let it run just a little bit long because, well, I felt the need to knock off that little bit of burn I got in my gut from not having gotten a stripe on my blue belt. It's really funny how much a strip of athletic tape can mean to you. But I guess I'm not there yet. We'll find out sooner or later, right? I'm sure that if I just keep doing what I'm doing, I'll eventually get there. Anyways, as far as what we're going to get into today, I got a couple ways that I wanted to go. And let's see, quadrigas, that's something that I've been wanting to touch on, but I don't think I'm ready to go there yet. But I did catch this one, and this one is, it's a little bit weird to me, because this is a subject I have covered multiple times on this show, that entities like Goldman Sachs and, JP Morgan Chase, and there's a few others, Deutsche Bank. Anyway, they either partner with existing entities in the crypto space, or they develop some spin-off or they buy somebody out, or so on or so forth, right? So Goldman Sachs, okay? Goldman Sachs is up to their ass in crypto. They've been up to their ass in crypto since, I want to say, like 2014, 2015. Anyway, they own Circle, or they have controlling interest in Circle, one of the two. And I believe Circle actually owns Poloniex, or there's some sort of relationship there. It's either Goldman Sachs owns a chunk of Poloniex, or Circle owns a chunk of Poloniex, and Goldman Sachs owns Circle. But there's another one in there, USDC. That one's produced by Goldman Sachs. It's a quote-unquote stable coin. Another one of those that has not been properly audited. There have been attestations but there have not been actual audits, not to my knowledge anyway, and I've been kind of trying to keep a track on that. As a matter of fact, I don't think I've heard of a single stablecoin being audited, and certainly not by any regulatory agency. And that's one of those points that I find really offensive with regard to, when people talk about regulating cryptocurrencies or cease and desist orders in cryptocurrencies or something like that. You would think that the one place that you would be absolutely certain to see some fucking regulatory banhammer just flying out of the fucking darkness and wanging them on the fucking head, you would think it would be stable coins. Because what are stable coins? They're an abstraction of value representing fiat currencies that may or may not actually have sufficient backing to be cashed or exchanged directly for US dollars that are being held in reserve to collateralize the issuance of these currencies. So, I mean, really, you want me to believe that the SEC and the CFTC and the NYDFS, you want me to believe that these people aren't just like some sort of mafia, right, that's like working in conjunction with one another to control competition for their banking entities that they also run. You want me to believe that, but like I said, you'll go after Bittrex and you will deny Bittrex a bit license when they're one of the most reputable fucking exchanges on planet Earth. After 4 years, you deny them a fucking bit license, but let's let fucking all kinds of companies issue out stable coins that are representing US dollars and other fiat currencies on cryptocurrency exchanges. Oh, we can let that one fly. No big deal. Those guys are good for it. Right. I'm supposed to believe that Goldman Sachs doesn't have all of the funds encumbered in some other way that are backing the USDC. They've got a significant multi-trillion-dollar portfolio that they could be wing-wanging around and issuing all kinds of stablecoin tokens in additional encumbrance against those funds. They're good for it, right? I mean, we've heard this song before. We heard it back in 2008, and it played out throughout the global market, and thus resulted cryptocurrency. So, I mean, I've talked a lot about an event in cryptocurrency, and it won't just impact cryptocurrency, it'll impact fiat currencies. And stablecoins, they're an ideal candidate. And the qualification for it was that it would be a token that would be representing both either cryptocurrencies or fiat currencies, or cryptocurrencies and fiat currencies together. Either way, it would be relatively unaccountable except within its own little system, and it would be counted and accepted as Bitcoin or US dollars at one point or another, and that the inflation of it would basically collapse the world economy. And that's I call it the GR Bufu, because I figured Ripple would be the medium of exchange, or the medium in which it happened. So it was the great Ripple buttfuck. But I'm not entirely certain that that's going to be the case. It could be a matter of people jingling supposed stable coins against one another and making money on the arbitrage there. Honestly, I really believe that they are the medium that all of the quote-unquote volatility that would ordinarily be noticed in the markets by now is being dulled. That maybe Bitcoin should be up there around 9,000, 10,000 about now, but they've managed to suck out about $4,000 of value by issuing these fucking stable tokens that don't have any collateral, so they're free, right? And they sell them for Bitcoin, and people actually exchange for Bitcoin, and so they do it at a loss, you know, because it's free for them, right? But then they sell the Bitcoin at a loss, and the money they make from that is 100% profit because the stable coins were free. Now they're collateralized, at least like 80% now. So if they didn't have the money, now they have the money because they just took your money through the exchange. And so, you know, I've noticed people get down on Bitfinex, and maybe it's his presentation or her presentation. I don't know who Bitfinex actually is. But there's cause for alarm with regard to stable coins, I believe. And in the longer term, we're going to find out that billions and billions and billions of dollars have been sucked out of the fucking cryptosphere via the issuance of these tokens that nobody's mining, and that the companies that are issuing them don't actually have any collateral for. And we're going to find that out very, very soon. At some point or another, there's going to be a high enough volume of them out there that the FDIC or somebody like that is going to be saying, hey, you know, we noticed there's like $3 trillion worth of stable coins out there. You know, that doesn't actually square with our books. You know, there shouldn't be that much money in circulation, so we need to do a full audit of these people and find out exactly how much money they have, what it's held in. You know, is it just obligations that they're counting as good as U.S. dollars, like is the case with Tether, and they kind of admit that too. But yeah, it's the same song that we heard back in 2008, and I believe that the stable coins will be the chink, the catalyst. But the point I was trying to get there is that the people that are really behind it, they're not going to be Vitalik Buterin, they're not going to be anybody involved in cryptocurrencies, except for those that have been basically sock puppets for bankers, and you know who you are, and some of us know who you are. But in any case, that they've been conducting the same scams and the same frauds that they've always done, that they kind of skate by because they own politicians and whatnot. It just flows, right? Well, at one point it does get accountable. At one point the average Joe does say no and moves their monetary value into vehicles that aren't experiencing these same issues. You know, like exchanges that don't trade for any stable coins, which I think would probably be a wise thing to do. I mean, if you want a US dollar valuation, there's plenty of markets out there where they have US dollar to Bitcoin exchanges. Use those as your base, and you're good to go. You don't have to worry about it. Anyway, I got this article here on Cointelegraph, and it's by Marie Hewlett, and it was authored I guess 17 hours ago. It might have been longer. Let me refresh this page and see. 17 hours ago. My apologies. Goldman Sachs CEO refutes bank ever had plans to open crypto trading desk. Now, we already know that's bullshit. As a matter of fact, I probably read articles concerning their crypto trading desk, but besides the point, they have a significant stake in Circle, if not own Circle full out, and that's more or less an exchange for US dollars to Bitcoin, so they might as well have their own fucking trading desk. Continuing on. Goldman Sachs CEO David Solomon has categorically refuted that the bank had ever had any plans to open a crypto trading desk, and stated that earlier media reports suggesting otherwise were incorrect. Solomon made his remarks before the United States House of Representatives Financial Services Committee on April 10th during a hearing entitled, quote, "Holding Megabanks Accountable, a review of global symmetrically important banks 10 years after the financial crisis. And you know what? We're going to do just a little bit of investigation here really quick. See if we can track down this fucking report. Oh, shit. Holding mega banks accountable. Systematically important. Let's see if we can find a transcript. That would be just darling, wouldn't it? Copy. And damn, I love multi-tab browsing. It's the fucking greatest. Now, Jamie Dimon was apparently involved in it. And let's see, Market Watch. Find the source. Who was the organization that was involved? Financial Services Committee hearing. Copy. Let's try this again. Yeah, you know, there was a dog and pony show. I saw just a little bit of it. Apparently, the Secretary of Treasury was in to see Maxine Waters at some point. And, oh, there we go. Oh, transcript. Oh my goodness, I think we might have found it. No, very congressional transcripts. Let's see where we are here. Must conversion subcommittee hearings next. Come on, give me what I want. Damn you. Apparently that's not the right page to go to. Damn it, Jim. Financial Services, C-SPAN. Let's see, testimony. I want to find the testimony for this shit. So banking regulations. No, we're not going to go there. Unfortunately, the problem that I'm experiencing here is that these are in video form. And I don't want videos. I want text so I can read it to you. Anyway, I do have, I guess, a snippet of it. Where the hell did it go now? That's the only bummer about multi-tab browsing. You get caught up in it. No. Man, I have too many tabs open. Here we go. Yeah, so David Solomon has categorically refuted that the bank had any plans to open a crypto trading desk, blah, blah, blah. As previously reported, Goldman Sachs' alleged plans to create a crypto-focused unit by the end of June 2018 were originally covered in a December 2017 report from Bloomberg. In September 2018, unnamed sources told Business Insider that the project had been put on hold. Several days later, the firm's chief financial officer, Martin Chavez, told reporters that the recent reports were, quote, fake news. That's bullshit. In his remarks, Solomon said that Goldman Sachs has engaged with clients that are involved with clearly physically settled crypto futures, but that alleged trading desk plans were false. Quote, the first Bloomberg article wasn't correct. Like others, we are watching and doing work to try to understand the cryptocurrency market as it develops. But we never had plans to open a cryptocurrency trading desk. Notably, the CEO did not rule out any such move from the bank in the future, stating that, quote, we might at some point in time, but there's no question when you're dealing with cryptocurrency, it's a new area. It is clear from a regulatory perspective, it's unclear whether in the long run, as a currency, those technologies are going to work and be viable. Yeah, dude, whatever. If you were really interested in cryptocurrencies, you would be mining. Continuing. Ohio Republican Congressman Warren Davidson, who was questioning Solomon over the media reports, himself voiced his belief that the U.S. is lagging behind other countries and failing to, quote, take advantage of this thriving sector due to its regulatory uncertainty. As Cointelegraph previously reported, other CEOs in attendance at the hearing included J.P. Morgan Chase CEO Jamie Dimon, who affirmed that the value of blockchain technology but reiterated his belief that decentralized cryptocurrencies do not have any intrinsic value. A bipartisan bill to exclude cryptocurrencies from being classified as securities and foster more regulatory clarity for crypto, first proposed by Representative Davidson and Democratic Congressman Darren Soto in December of 2018, was reintroduced in a revised version to Congress this week. Yeah. I think this is more of that jerking off, you know. And there's a great deal of it going on out there with regard to regulations. You know, when they're talking about regulatory clarity, they're talking about kicking you out of cryptocurrencies. That's what they're doing. They're not talking about some opacity in cryptocurrencies, because there's never been a more transparent form of money than cryptocurrencies. And it's one of the things that they hate about it. You know, aspects like limited supply and all that, that's wonderful. But the fact that it's you that is mining the coin, that pisses them off. You know, they've had over a century now of a monopoly, more or less, on all transactions, digital or otherwise. And they've been making their money in the back rooms this entire time. Well, the back room hasn't been serving the rest of the market. And the market has felt that. And the market's response was, we are going to create monetary units that you motherfuckers aren't in control of. That's the whole point of cryptocurrencies, by the way, is that you can be in control of your participation in them. You can be in control of your funds on these networks in a way that you don't have the kind of control that you do with Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies with fiat currencies. You just don't. You know, there's an aspect of physical currency that, you know, the markets are more or less as open as you can get to. You know, it's the meat space market there, but that money doesn't do you any good online. And in the same aspect, there's certain things that you can do with your credit card during certain periods of time with certain individuals. That's not true of Bitcoin. You can pretty much transact with anyone, anywhere, anytime. How long it takes for the transaction to complete, that's a whole different story. And it is one of the aspects, and one of the factors at least, to consider when you're talking about moving money via cryptocurrency. It's like, okay, well, am I willing to wait a day or two for it to complete? Sure. You know, is the thing going to be in transit for a day or two? Probably. At least. Or the service that I'm receiving. You know, as long as I can confirm that I have sent the money is pretty much going to get there. Period, right? There are limited exceptions, but again, that's something that you would decide on which currency you wanted to use. You know, so if you really needed it to go through like now, you might use something like Verge or Doge or Ethereum or something with a really, really, really short period of time in the block interval. You know, so you can get your confirmation within 30 seconds on Verge. So if it's that important to you that the transaction is actually completed in a very quick period of time, that would be a better choice. Because the certainty of the transaction is just that. I mean, in 2 minutes, you've got that 6 block limit kind of, you know, 6 confirmations. You can kind of consider it chipped in stone by then, right? Well, that same what is it on Bitcoin? It would be 10 tens, so an hour and 40 minutes. That versus 3 minutes. I think I would rather wait 3 minutes. Especially if it's something where you want that fucking thing to verify and complete as fast as possible. There you go. Anywho, let's get into some other stuff here. I wanted to touch with that Goldman Sachs thing though, because they are buried all over the place in cryptocurrencies. So when people talk about, the institutional money is going to come and it's going to make everything... Dude, the fucking institutional money's here already. It's been here for a while. And as a matter of fact, here's some indicator of how long exactly they've been here. This is on Forbes.com, authored April 10th, 2019 at 7:01 p.m. by Billy Bambro. So yes, penis. Coinbase and Visa are making Bitcoin, Ethereum, Ripple's XRP, and Litecoin payments a reality. Bitcoin and other major cryptocurrencies, including Ethereum, Ripple's XRP, and Litecoin, have long struggled against accusations they are harder to spend and use in the real world than their traditional fiat counterparts. The Bitcoin price, which leaped higher last week to trade around $5,000 per Bitcoin, has been called too unstable and volatile to be used as a medium of payment, resulting in Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies being used more as a store of value, like gold, than traditional means of exchange currency. Now, major Bitcoin and cryptocurrency exchange Coinbase has teamed up with global payments processor Visa to try to change that, launching the Coinbase card, which allows users to, quote, spend crypto as effortlessly as the money in their bank. Not as cheaply, probably. The Visa debit card, which has a $4.95 or $6.50, $4.95 lira. My apologies. I guess that's lira. It's that weird L. Anyway, $6.50 card issuance fee can be used to spend Coinbase Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin balances in millions of locations around the world by converting the cryptocurrency to fiat when the card is used. The merchant or store gets paid in traditional fiat currency. Coinbase users can choose which cryptocurrency is used on the card through a new app which supports all crypto assets available to buy and sell on the Coinbase platform. The app also offers instant receipts, transaction summaries, and spending categories to help people keep track of their spending. You may also quote, "This is the first debit card to link directly with a major cryptocurrency exchange, allowing people to spend their crypto balances direct from their Coinbase account," Coinbase said in a statement announcing the launch of the card. Quote, "Previously available crypto cards required users to preload a specified amount of crypto onto their card, adding a point of friction to the process." The Coinbase card is currently only available in the UK, but the San Francisco-based exchange, which was valued at $8 billion in October, plans to roll out support in other European countries in the, quote, oncoming months. There are no plans yet for support outside of Europe. While Ripple's XRP isn't currently available to trade for UK Coinbase users, others in Europe will be able to spend XRP on the card once the service is rolled out in their country. Apto Payments, previously known as Shift Payments, is providing the technology for Coinbase after discontinuing its own Shift card, allowing US Coinbase users to spend crypto from their accounts in February. PlaySafe, a UK payment processor, is issuing the cards. Meanwhile, in a win for institutional support for Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, Fidelity Digital Assets, an institutional provider of custodial services and trade services for digital assets, has poached Christine Sandler from Coinbase as its new head of sales and marketing. Quote, "We're excited for Christine to join our growing team," said Tom Jessup, president of Fidelity Digital Assets. Quote, "We look forward to her leadership in support of the strong interest we're seeing from investors who are looking for a trusted provider to take an increasing role in this market." Fidelity is one of the world's largest providers of retirement savings and mutual funds and wants to win over institutional customers keen on digital currency trading. The company hired Jessup from Chain, which offers blockchain technology to financial companies, a year ago. Yeah, okay. So, I think that the people that are going with Fidelity and Coinbase in the longer term are going to find out exactly, again, what good it is to trust somebody else with your money. At one point or another, Coinbase or Visa or Ethereum or Ripple or one of the organizations that's in between is going to fuck up. They're going to go fractional reserve and they're going to fuck up. You know, and as a matter of fact, I got this other thing here, and this is about Coinbase. And I think it's kind of important because considering what we just read, where they're going to be basically issuing credit cards or debit cards or some shit like that against that you'll be able to use your crypto funds through, which is kind of cool and all, but it's nothing you can't already do with a wallet. You know, just a regular old wallet for Ethereum or shit. You could use Coinomi, and that supports, I want to say, thousands of currencies, but at least hundreds. Anyway, got this article here on reclaimthenet.org. Coinbase head of sales reveals data leak of their users. And this is by Naga Pramod, March 5th, 2019, so it's a little bit old. But anyway, continuing. Cheddar recently interviewed Coinbase's head of sales about Coinbase extending support to Ripple XRP and the acquisition of the data intelligence firm Neutrino. Christine Sandler said they had caught previous blockchain intelligence firms selling user data to third parties. As a result, they have stopped outsourcing the intelligence and instead acquired and now have an in-house blockchain intelligence firm. Quote, "Our current providers were actually selling client data to outside sources, and it was really compelling for us to get control over that and have proprietary technology that we could leverage to keep the data safe and protect our clients," Sandler said. And you know what? Something's going on here. I want to check something out really quick. Oh, okay. Apparently there's just a long end on that song. I thought my program might have gone out there for a moment. Anyway, continuing. Quote, "Our current This interview has resulted in a backlash from the blockchain community that was already upset with Coinbase's acquisition of Neutrino. Previously, during February of 2018, this acquisition came to the public's attention, and the blockchain community on Twitter called for a boycott and urged people to quit using Coinbase. There were many security and privacy concerns over the acquisition." And this is a tweet by Exceptionally Brilliant. So I spent some time looking into Coinbase's latest acquisition, Neutrino. What I found just by reading existing reporting is insanely dark and could/deserves to become a massive scandal for Coinbase. And the title of it is Coinbase's newest team members helped authoritarians worldwide. Their latest acquisition consists largely of former execs from one of the most notoriously anti-liberty cyber surveillance firms. And then UD Worthamer says, "You did what?" A Coinbase official responds to delete Coinbase by saying they had to acquire Neutrino because their previous tracking provider sold Coinbase customer data to third parties. And that's why we should never trust the people you choose to do business with. Oh, I'm sorry. That's why we should trust the people. Yeah, whatever. That's a question, by the way. And Janine said, Director of Institutional Sales at Coinbase, praising Neutrino's best-in-class technology and saying they have needed to migrate another, quote, provider because their previous one was selling client data outside sources. Founders of Neutrino previously ran a firm which went by the name of Hacker Team. This firm specialized in tracking down individuals and helping nations capture dissidents. A report by WSJ mentioned their involvement in the murder of Saudi's dissident journalist Jamal Khashoggi. They have also built an application known as, quote, Money Module that enables a user to remotely access other devices. Applications like these can provide access to your Bitcoin wallets, and you can potentially be spied on. Because of all these allegations against Neutrino, there was public outrage when Coinbase acquired them. Now Coinbase goes on record to say that the companies they previously hired leaked and sold user data. The public announcement ended up hurting the company's reputation even more. Yeah, that's very true. It's the problem with any trusted third party. And it doesn't matter which one we're talking about, whether we're talking about Coinbase or U.S. government or whoever. You don't need those kinds of people involved in your exchanges with regard to cryptocurrency. And so involving them at any level, it just opens you up to an additional level of threat that you just don't need to endure. It's not necessary. And I think in the longer term that people are going to understand the efficiency of simply avoiding using them. And that the level of uncertainty that they introduce into our commerce is just too much to tolerate, especially with currencies that we have out there that we don't actually need them in order to use. You know, it's just an inefficiency. Statistical process control. It's going to filter them all out. By hook or by crook, they're going to be phased out. That's just how nature works. Anyway, let's go ahead and throw back down into some music. And I got this new Overkill, and I haven't had an opportunity to play all of it. So, I'm not sure where it's going to take us. I mean, I played Last Man Standing, and that's a fucking badass song. So let's go ahead and throw down Distortion by Overkill off of Wings of War here on Coin Metal. Oh, my apologies. I kind of let it run a little long there. It was Within the Ruins, Elite. They'd posted something on Twitter about your favorite Within the Ruins song, and I'm like, Elite, duh. Or it was like the song that you could sing along to, that we are fucking elite. Yeah, fuck yeah. Anyway, so moving on to more recent stuff. I tend not to get away from crypto too much on this show, but something happened recently, and it kind of bugs me, because this doesn't bode particularly well for journalism in general, and we rely on a lot of journalists out there to provide us content to read on this show. Otherwise, it would just be legislation, and nobody wants that. Anyway, so I got this thing on PeterThatchellFoundation.org, and here it is: Julian Assange arrested in London. Peter Tatchell My apologies. Peter Tatchell responds to violation of citizen and asylum rights. London, UK, 11 April 2019. WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange, who released documents that shamed the U.S. government, has been WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange, who released documents that expose human rights abuses by the United States military, has been arrested today in London by the British police after he was evicted from the Ecuadorian embassy, where he had sought asylum in a bid to avoid extradition to the U.S. and face charges over his publication of those abuses. Responding to the arrest of Julian Assange today, human rights campaigner Peter Tatchell said, quote, "The decision of the Ecuadorian government to hand over Assange to the UK police is a clear violation of his Ecuadorian citizenship and asylum rights. Ecuador has failed in its duty to protect its citizen." Quote, "Assange's arrest will put him at risk of extradition to the United States, where he will very likely face charges that could see him jailed for 30 or more years. A secret grand jury has been convened to prepare an indictment against Assange, and key Trump officials have said that prosecuting Assange is a priority." Prosecuting him for what? Quote, "Assange did not leak anything. He published the leaks of Chelsea Manning, as did the Guardian and New York Times. Why is he being singled out?" Quote, "The bid to extradite Assange to the U.S. over his revelations of U.S. war crimes, cover-ups, and corruption is an attack on the right to publish the truth. WikiLeaks and Assange are online publishers. The proposed U.S. charges against Assange are an assault on publishing freedom and freedom of expression." Quote, "Assange published evidence of American war crimes. He is a hero, not a criminal." Quote, "The British government should refuse to do the bidding of the Trump administration. It should give public assurances that Assange will not be handed over to the U.S. authorities. His extradition to the U.S. is not in the public interest," said Mr. Tatchell. He'll probably end up here. You know, what they'll try and charge him with, though, that's a whole different question. You know, and the fact of the matter is that I don't think that he's actually committed any real quote unquote crimes in a real sense. I think that what he did was expose certain crimes that were going on, and the fact that there was significant squelching of media coverage of what was going on in Iraq. And so, I don't know. I think in the longer term he will be freed, though. You know, maybe not immediately, maybe not before at least a trial, but I do believe that his cause is just, and you know, if I don't know, I think it just bodes poorly for the rest of us as far as online communications go. You know, there's been this big push to kind of curtail social media and the impact it has on our impressions of what's going on around us. And I think that's really sad, because if there was ever a better way to monitor what's going on out there and try to address real needs, as opposed to just, you know, fantasies that you think up on a fucking whiteboard and think it's going to work because it appears that it's going to benefit you in some way or another. I don't understand. You know, there's a lot of aspects that I've been seeing with regard to, you know, like Chinese government saying that they're going to ban mining, or, you know, that they're using this social media score to inhibit travel. I thought that was the most ridiculous fucking thing ever. But, you know, somebody thinks that's a good idea. You know, and I think it's especially humorous because physical mobility is not actually required in order to do a great deal of things. I do a great deal of things right where I'm sitting, right here, with people all over the planet, all day long. I don't have to go anywhere. So, trying to limit my physical mobility by what I, according to some scoring mechanism, that I've accrued either here online or at large, I think it's kind of silly. But yeah, as far as Julian Assange goes, ultimately I do think that he will be set free, and hopefully within my or his lifetime. But yeah, man, I think that's sad that they finally kicked him out of the Ecuadorian embassy. That's lame. But we had previously gone over Coinbase's leaks, and again, we're talking about permission either way. Julian Assange didn't ask permission before exposing what he exposed. He just fucking did it. He said, "This is wrong. I've got evidence of it. I'm going to release what I can that's vetted to some extent." But I'm going to let people know this shit's going on. And one of the key witnesses that could be providing testimony should Julian Assange be tried in the United States for anything is actually dead right now. And I think that's kind of telling, of what kind of material may be exposed should there be any kind of hearing or investigation into Julian Assange for criminal activities or whatever. I think if there's any kind of like public trial or whatever, or at least that we have access to it, I think we're going to find out some really interesting shit. The one of the things that Julian Assange has always had is little troves of data that he has not dumped out into the public yet. And it's probably the only thing that's kept him alive in the Ecuadorian embassy as long as he's been there. Is they want to know what he knows, because he knows a lot. And exactly what? I don't know. And they don't know either. That's the thing. But yeah, we talked about Coinbase and their mismanagement of people's data. I think it's fucking ridiculous. I wish that I had known, that the reason they were hiring these guys that were like human rights violators or whatever, or supported human rights violations, and caused some murders, I guess, government-sponsored murders. I thought that was just, they were just wanting to analyze things a little deeper, like, get better tracking on their customers or something like that. But I didn't realize it was because they had been farming that data out to somebody else, who is then in turn selling it. I mean, really. Again, this is why Bitcoin is designed to work as peer-to-peer currency, is so that you don't need Coinbase at all. I know I keep saying that, but it pisses me off that I'll be reading through Twitter and people keep talking about, how, they're sovereign in cryptocurrency and whatnot, and Coinbase is like doling out their fucking information. You're not sovereign in shit if you have to deal with them. And they keep trying to downplay Bitcoin as money. Store of value, HODL, all that bullshit. It's fucking money. It's meant to be used without the need for Coinbase or Visa or any other payment intermediary. So why aren't we going to use it as money? Why aren't you going to use it as it was intended to be used? I think that's like a mishmash of a whole bunch of data there. Some of it is to distort people's impression of cryptocurrencies in order to push an additional narrative that they shouldn't use their cryptocurrencies as money. Yeah, I don't know. It's somebody's long game, obviously, right? But yeah. But we see this this intermingling between fiat currencies and the cryptocurrencies and the dealers of them. Where you've got like Goldman Sachs and whatnot. I was trying to get this fucking article, but for some stupid reason it scrolled right past me. Here we go. And like I was talking about how Circle is basically owned by Goldman Sachs, and there's this incestuous relationship between Goldman Sachs, USDC, and Circle, and Poloniex. Anyway, I got this article here on Cointelegraph by Anna Alexandra, so no penis. This is approximately 2 hours ago. Former Coinbase exec appointed head of sales and marketing at Fidelity. Digital assets trading and custody platform Fidelity Digital Assets has named former Coinbase executive the head of sales and marketing, according to a press release published on April 10th. Let's get that up here. Christine Sandler, who previously served as head of institutional sales at American major cryptocurrency exchange Coinbase, has joined Fidelity as its head of sales and marketing. In this role, Sandler, will reportedly lead the expansion of Fidelity Digital Assets into new markets, as well as take responsibility for institutional customer service. Sandler's former experience also includes head of equity electronic sales for the Americas at Barclays Investment Bank and executive vice president at global head of sales for NYSE Euronext. She also served as head of electronic sales at investing and wealth management firm Merrill Lynch and worked as a buy-side trader. Fidelity Digital Assets went live in the beginning of March with a select group of clients. The company said that, quote, "We are live with a select group of eligible clients and will continue rolling out slowly." Fidelity Digital Assets head Tom Jessup said at the time that the company is still working on various parts of the platform. He noted that while some users have been on the platform since January, others may wait until September, as, quote, "It really depends on the facts and circumstances of each client, i.e. are they worth millions or billions of dollars?" Earlier today, Cointelegraph reported that Mike Blandina, a former engineer executive at PayPal and Google, has joined Bitcoin BTC trading and custody platform Bakkt as its chief product officer. Blandina will now lead the firm's efforts to converge a trusted ecosystem for digital assets and payments use cases in order to help Bakkt bring real applications to Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. Oh, this is silly. Bakkt is still in this regulatory gray area. They don't. I don't know that they actually have a release date for when they're going to do their thing. Let me check and verify something here. I got a tab for them. Bakkt. Oh, here we go. Former PayPal Google engineering exec joins Bakkt as chief product officer, and I guess Helen Parts wrote an article about that today. And it's not particularly long, so let's get into it. A former engineering executive at PayPal and Google will join the team behind the institutional digital asset platform Bakkt, the firm's CEO Kelly Loeffler announced in a blog post on Medium on April 11th. With over 25 years of experience in digital payments, engineering, strategy, and operations, Mike Blandina has joined Bakkt as a chief product officer. As the new CPO of Bakkt, Blandina will lead the firm's efforts to converge a trusted ecosystem for digital assets with payments use cases in order to help Bakkt bring real applications to Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, the announcement notes. Blandina is most known for serving as head of payments and credit engineering at global digital payments operator PayPal, as well as at Google, where he worked as director of engineering for Google Wallet. Apart from that, Blandina acquired venture-backed fintech startup TXVia, was also CTO at global gift card and digital payment firm Blackhawk Network. In the announcement, the Bakkt CEO specified other important hires such as Coinbase veteran Adam White, who was appointed as Bakkt founding COO and head of institutional custody and trading products in October of 2018. Loeffler also mentioned the recruitment of former WorldPay executive Balazs Devarasetti, my apologies, who joined the Bakkt team as vice president of tech. In late March, Bakkt hired former cybersecurity expert at IBM, Cisco, and Endgame, Tom Noonan. First announced in August of 2018, Bakkt was recently reported to have obtained a further delay on getting approval from the United States Commodities Futures and Trade Commission, or Futures Trading Commission, my apologies there again. Previously, the platform was reported to have earned a $740 million valuation after it raised over $180 million in funding last year. Yeah, Bakkt. Let's check this thing, the delay. What was it? First announced in August of 2018, recently reported. Let's see that. See what that recent report was all about. Yeah, Bakkt has been trying to launch now for I think like 2 years. And yeah, here we go. This is by Max Jakubowski, my apologies. This was March 22nd, 2019. Bakkt delayed due to CFTC concerns over its planned custody of clients' Bitcoin. This one isn't too long. We can do it. Much anticipated crypto platform Bakkt's plans to store customers' Bitcoin from its Bitcoin futures could cause further delay on obtaining approval from United States regulator, the Commodities Future Trading Commission, CFTC. Trading Commission. The news was reported by the Wall Street Journal on March 21st, citing anonymous sources. When Bakkt was first announced back in August, the platform had revealed that its first product would be Bitcoin futures that are physically delivered daily, subject to CFTC approval. Bakkt also said that it planned to hold Bitcoin on behalf of its clients via its, quote, physical warehousing. According to people familiar with the matter, in February the CFTC told the platform that if it were to have custody over its customers' crypto, it would have to take additional steps to comply. In particular, the CFTC, quote, would require disclosures of ventures business plans and a public comment period, which would have further delayed approval. The WSJ reported that the plan for Bakkt to custody other clients' Bitcoin then ran aground that month what? The Wall Street Journal reported that the plan for Bakkt to custody its clients' Bitcoin then ran aground that month to avoid said further delays. Lame. Bakkt and the CFTC are reportedly now considering other ways the platform can handle the futures contract so that it is compliant with the regulator. According to the report, the CFTC has outlined various alternative options for Bakkt, including having the firm register as a trust company. However, other sources told the WSJ that such a process could be time-consuming. Meanwhile, a spokesperson for the Intercontinental Exchange, the operator of the New York Stock Exchange, which is launching BACT, told WSJ, quote, "We are working through the regulatory review process and are looking forward to updating the market soon. BACT was first slated to debut in November, but delays around obtaining approval from the CFTC pushed back the deadline several times. Nonetheless, according to CFTC Commissioner Dan Berkowitz, in an interview last week, the regulator is currently, quote, diligently working on issuing an approval for multiple crypto-related applications, including for BACT. As Cointelegraph wrote today, March 22nd, BACT has reportedly earned $740 million valuation after it raised over $180 million in funding last year. Interesting. So BACT, will they actually ever launch? That is the question. I don't know. I don't see that they will, really. I mean, especially if they're not actually going to if they are actually going to deliver. That's kind of a new one for a lot of people in Wall Street, because they, when they're doing futures and whatnot, a lot of them, they don't actually expect to ever deliver on them. Anyway, let's go ahead and throw back down into some music, and I'm feeling the need for some Voivod, and here we go, Event Horizon, here on Coin Metal. And that was Lamb of God with Embers. And it is with that I'd like to close out this episode. Thank you very, very much for listening. I certainly do appreciate the support. We will be back again on Monday at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. In closing, I just wanted to say that it seems like all of these things that we do comment about on this show could be vastly reduced as factors in our lives if we were taking the lead of Bitcoin and taking control of our finances, our digital finances, in a way that we have not been able to do since the creation of digital currency units, since the invention of Visa cards and other such tools, ATM cards, all that business. Those aren't just the end point of cryptocurrency, though. I don't think that Coinbase or any other entity issuing cards is going to be the final destination of cryptocurrencies. I certainly believe they will play a part in future. But as far as right now is concerned, I think the issues that Coinbase has with regard to their fees, how their fees are outrageously expensive. I can only imagine that they will get worse with the card, because there will be insurance requirements on the cryptocurrency that you have stored at Coinbase. And I think that in the long run, the regulatory burden and other such friction associated with transacting Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies in the way they intend is going to be a lot more expensive than they think it's going to be. We've seen over and over again where even entities that were first to come into a new industry or were really big darlings of a certain industry, unless they get consumed by a much larger pre-existing entity, they do tend to go out of business. And so Coinbase, they've kind of secured themselves as a maven of finance and whatnot, but I think in the longer term they're going to find themselves in a position where they're going to have to compromise all of their values as an entity in finance, or basically get bought out by somebody who will do it. Anyway, as I said, I'm going to go ahead and close this one out, and I want y'all to trade safe. Do your homework. And watch out for your own bunghole, because nobody else is going to do it for you. as evidenced by Julian Assange. Thank you again for listening, and you all have an excellent weekend. As far as our last dance is concerned, I hadn't picked one out. But, you kind of expect that one, right? That I'd wait until the very, very last moment to do something like that. And, I haven't played any Metallica tonight. What's the deal with that? Anyway, let's go ahead and throw it down. Last Dance, Fight Fire with Fire by Metallica, here on Coin Metal. Thank you again for listening, and you all have an excellent weekend.